Hey everybody, welcome to Zym Media. This is your host for this evening, Kyle. And today, I'm jumping on a very old bandwagon, but I'm doing it for a good reason. So, as I'm sure literally anybody watching YouTube in the last year can recognize, this is a tier list from tiermaker.com. Specifically, this list is supposedly the greatest video games of all time. We'll see about that. But, the reason I decided to do this is because right now we have a shitload of new subscribers. And so, I thought a great way for all of you people to get a good understanding of my appreciation for games and the kind of taste I have in them is for you to see me rank all of these video games that are masterpieces and shit. So yeah, we're just gonna dive into this. I mean, these are supposedly some of the greatest video games of all time. I don't know why there's like a horrible option and shit. Hopefully, none of these games are things I would consider horrible, but we'll see. Because I haven't really looked at. I mean, I can kind of see some of the games on here, but I haven't really looked at these games in depth. So we're just gonna jump into this. I know a decent number of these I have not played. Okay, so it doesn't seem like it's any discernible order. So let's just Bioshock, the original Bioshock. That game's going into masterpiece, so we're starting well here. I fucking love the original Bioshock. I know, what a controversial opinion. Nowadays it feels a bit dated, I'd say, but for its time, that was a damn good game. This is a damn good game. Yep. I would spend more time, but we have like 100 games to go through, so I don't think I can spend that long on each one, but would you kindly? Okay, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Okay, I'm gonna put this in amazing. I know a lot of people consider this like the best Metroidvania game, and also like just like a seminal, one of the best video games ever made kind of thing. I love this game. I did not play this game when it originally came out on the PlayStation. I actually didn't really play Symphony of the Night until, I don't know, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. And so it's undeniably an amazing game. And it's kind of ridiculous that this was like a lot of their first attempts at doing a game of that style. I mean, it was a game so good that Metroid created this style of game, and then Castlevania is like, I'm going to do one version of that, and everybody's like, Metroidvania! Which, if I were the people behind Metroid, I'd be like, you just call it a Metroid-style game. We did this first, fuckers! But, regardless. It's a great game. I don't know, it just, I love the hell out of it. I just wouldn't consider it like a masterpiece. Fallout New Vegas. Well, this is interesting to have happening right now with all the Chris Avellone stuff going on. But separating his work in that game from the game itself, I consider this game a masterpiece. This is easily my favorite Fallout game. I have not played, to be fair, all of the Fallout games. I've obviously played all of the Bethesda era ones. And I have beaten the first Fallout, and I got like halfway through the second Fallout, and then my save file got corrupted, and I couldn't motivate myself to start over. Not that I wasn't loving the game. It was a great game, but I just couldn't do it. One day I plan on going back and like actually replaying and finishing that game, but that day is not today. Next up, is this the original Half-Life? I've actually never played the original Half-Life. I've played Half-Life 2 and episodes 1 and 2. I've not played Half-Life Alyx. I don't have VR. But I've never played the original. I know there's like the Black Mesa remake that just came out. I've been thinking about picking that up and trying it out. But yeah, so, that's one of the holes in my repertoire. Street Fighter 2. I'm going to put this in good. And one, I'm not huge on fighting games. Really, the only fighting games I dive deep into are, well, actually, what's coming up next? But, like, the Smash Bros. Games, or, honestly, like, the Mortal Kombat Injustice, like, style, like, because I'm a big story guy. Those games got fun stories. Street Fighter 2 is like, I'm gonna pick a dude, I'm gonna fight. I'm not good at just dedicating myself to one game for an incredibly long amount of time to get good at it. It just doesn't happen that way. And so, I mean, Street Fighter 2 is undeniably, a cornerstone of all fighting games nowadays, really. But, I mean, considering everything else now, I'd qualify it as a good game. Smash Bros. Ultimate. I would say this is an amazing game. It's Smash Bros. It's what this is. You know how people are. I'd say it's my favorite Super Smash Brothers game. And it's amazing. It's just approachable enough that I'm pretty good at it. Team Fortress 2. Okay, so some of you are going to learn, I'm not huge on multiplayer games. I recognize this is a great game. I have played it. I played it for a little bit. But I'm going to piss some people off, and I'm going to put it in decent. I did not play it a lot, to be fair. If I did, I would probably rate it higher. And I have not played it in years and years and years and years. But for me, I would say it was like a decent time. I had fun with it for a little bit, but I dropped that, and I never came back. Until Dawn. Weird that makes it onto this list. I'd say very good. Until Dawn is a lot of fun. It's a good time. It's a lot of fun with friends. I did platinum this game. It was actually, I'd say this is the first game that I really went out of my way to platinum, which kind of started me going for platinums in games more often. Because you had to beat this game a good number of times to get all of the platinums and get all the endings and shit. It's fun. It's tropey as hell, but it knows it, and it was enjoyable. Being able to see if I could get everybody killed, how to keep everybody alive, the good old things. Other than that, I mean, I'm excited for Little Hope. I hope it's better than Man and Medan, which I enjoyed, but could have been better. Warframe. Another game I admittedly have not put a lot of time into, but I've definitely played it. It was free. I'm gonna put in very good. I've probably put 10-15 hours into Warframe, which is, I mean, it's a decent amount, but for a game like that is nowhere near enough to like scratch the surface and really get a full opinion. But first of all, I know people are obsessed with this game, and I've dove into it a decent bit. There's a lot of depth to it. And even just, I mean, the moment-to-moment gameplay in it is a lot of fun, which is a huge plus for it. And it is a game that has only gotten better as it's gone along. Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. I'm going to put this in amazing. It is not my favorite Uncharted game, but it is a great ending to Naughty Dog's tenure with the franchise, and it's just a fun time. Is this Yakuza Kiwami 2? I'm actually midway through playing this game right now, so I don't know if it's fair to put this. I'm putting great, with the expectation that it will probably get much higher. Because when I say I'm midway through playing this, I'm like, I don't know, like 5 hours in, so not that far. I love the Yakuza games. I say this as somebody who's not played a lot of them, and I've kind of just recently started immersing myself into them. I played 4. That was the first one I played. I'm good at this. Then I actually picked up the Yakuza collection and like the Kiwami remakes of 1 and 2. And I had finished the remake of the first one. I had finished Kiwami. And I dove into Kiwami 2, and then a bunch of games come out, and I never got back to it. But it's still waiting for me. And I plan on doing it. Battlefield 1. I did not like Battlefield 1 very much. I'd say it's decent. Like I said, not huge on multiplayer. I thought the campaigns were, like the little campaigns, they were good. They weren't great. Some of them were much better than others. And I don't know, it didn't hold my interest very long. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. Great game. I think calling it amazing or a masterpiece would be a little ridiculous, but that game is a huge part of my childhood, and I love it dearly. And I cannot wait for the remake of 1 and 2. I'm eagerly anticipating that. Red Dead Redemption 2. Okay. This game was great. Actually, it's better than great. The problem is, I'm going to put it in amazing. because first of all, I think Red Dead Redemption 2 has one of the best narratives I've ever played through in a video game. The story of Arthur Morgan is just fucking enthralling. I was so happy that it was so long, and I was so sad when it was done, and I wanted more. And then there was that nice little prologue at the end, and that was just icing on the cake. There's a lot to like. My biggest problem with that game is that like I don't love the shooting in Rockstar games, and that does kind of hold things back, but everything else about that game is super masterful. Dota 2, never played it. I don't know what to tell you. MOBAs are intimidating as shit, and I'm like, I don't got time to get good, so I'm not gonna get good. So I'm not gonna bother playing. Fire Emblem Three Houses. I'd say great. The more I've played Three Houses, when that game first came out, I was over the moon in love with it. And there's so much great stuff in that game, but I don't know, I've kind of slightly soured on it over time. It doesn't... I couldn't get through all of the campaigns. And there are Fire Emblem games I do love more than it. And so, but there's a lot to like. There's a lot to love. I love how customizable the characters are. I'm not a huge fan of the story, but I've gotten used to that with Fire Emblem over the years recently. Like, they used to have good, or at least better plots, and these last couple years they've been like, we have good characters. I don't know about the plot though. Okay, Halo Reach, amazing game. I didn't really play a lot of multiplayer for Halo Reach. I played a lot of multiplayer for Halo 2 and 3. Those are probably two of the shooters that I have some of the most multiplayer experience with. I feel confident that the game I have the most multiplayer experience with will be on this list somewhere. But yeah, but I think Halo Reach has the best Halo single player campaign. Maybe that's heresy, I don't know. But I just got super into that story and just the tragedy of it. Sonic Mania, I have not played it. I played it for like 10 minutes, so that doesn't qualify. I have not tried the game. I was never big on Sonic. I never played a lot of Sonic games. That is Mania, right? It's really hard to read this. If that's not Sonic Mania, I think it is, but if that's not Sonic Mania, I'm just reviewing Sonic Mania here. I know a lot of people have a huge love of that game because of its like remixing and taking the older games and kind of updating them and changing them and stuff. I wasn't hugely interested in approaching it just because I didn't have that foundation of love for Sonic in the first place. So I didn't know how much I would really get out of it. I'm sure I'd like it if I played it, but it kind of came out at a time when I was dealing with other shit. Okay. A Hat in Time. Great game. It is a great harkening back and throwback to the 3D collectathon platformer things that were huge back when I was a kid. I have grown past that personally, and while I recognize the merits of the game, I thought it was super charming. I didn't end up finishing it just because it was like I just got too distracted by it. Like, not by it, but just like by the rest of the world, and it didn't hold my interest well enough, even though like objectively I know it's a great game. Batman Arkham City. Amazing game. I don't know what I can say that people haven't said about Arkham City. It took the foundation in Arkham Asylum and opened it up. It made the story bigger, even if it made it a little bit sillier. And it's just a shitload of fun. And as much as people kind of shit on the Arkham combat style, this is back when that was still really original and really fresh, and like every other game that didn't want to bother with combat too hard hadn't stolen it yet. So, you know, it's Batman. It's some good Batman shit. Jungle Party. I don't even know what that is. Moving on. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Let's say great. I did put a good amount of time in the multiplayer for Modern Warfare 3. I did obviously play the campaign. This is back when I was still playing COD games regularly and really liking them. But I don't know. I'm not sure where people stand on the Modern Warfare trilogy. This is my least favorite of them. I don't know if that's a controversial statement or not, because I'm not in touch with people like that anymore. But, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was good. The story was totally fucking bonkers ridiculous, but, you know, hey. Crash Team Racing. Never played it. Sure, it's great. Not a big kart racer fan. Mass Effect 2. Masterpiece. I love this game. It is, in many ways, it kind of exemplifies what Mass Effect can be. In an insular sense, it works well as a sequel. It works well as like a standalone story. In the course of the game itself, I think of all three Mass Effect games, in an insulated sense, it has the best feeling of consequence to your choices. Obviously, the final mission is iconic. And it just so happens that when I played for the first time, I got no one killed, and I felt super proud of myself. But I've never actually been able to replicate that sense without just like cheating. I don't know. Past me was much smarter about running that mission than current me, I guess. I do hope that Mass Effect remaster for the trilogy is coming out. I would love to replay those three games again, looking prettier. But yeah, Final Fantasy VII, masterpiece. I've talked about the story on the channel before. Final Fantasy VII was the first game I got for a PlayStation. Got it at the same time. I had been playing Final Fantasy games already. 1, 2, and 3. Hello, US gamers. So I had already played Final Fantasy 1, Final Fantasy 4, and Final Fantasy 6 a good bit. I loved 4 and 6, especially 6. I played the shit out of 6 on my Super Nintendo. And when 7 came out, first of all, I was confused as shit because, again, yeah, all I knew was they jumped from 3 to 7. But it just was a phenomenal journey. Very emotional, very powerful. At the time, the graphics were breathtaking. It just had an amazing scope to it. The gameplay was really tightened, and it just really felt like they knew what they were doing. Obviously, it has one of the most iconic moments in video gaming that I'm sure everybody playing the remakes and shit knows about now, but just in case, since these games and their story are relevant again, I'm not going to discuss, because if you're that one guy who hasn't been spoiled about the big thing that happens in Final Fantasy VII about halfway through it, then good for you. Other than that, I love that game, and I've shared the story where I'd gotten it and my PlayStation at the same time. I think it was for like my birthday or something like that. But my family and I, we had no idea about memory cards because that was never a thing before. And so I didn't have a memory card. And then I realized when I was playing the game that I couldn't save. But I just kept playing it. My dad's like, oh, I'll just go to the store and I'll run to Best Buy and get you one of those memory card things. I'm like, cool, thanks. And so I'm playing the game. And I get to the spot in Shinra Tower where you're going down the elevator and you get attacked by the thing on the other elevator. There was a moment where a lot of these characters in your party had not been in your party for a while and their materia was unequipped, and I had not re-equipped materia, so the only person who could actually attack the enemy was Barrett with his gun hand, and it just didn't work out well because I was low on potions. I didn't have any healing magic equipped. Only Barrett could shoot with his basic ass attack. I couldn't use any magic, and I died. And I had to restart and replay that opening 5 hours all over again. And I did it willingly the next day because I was a child, and it was a fun new game. Is this the original Watch Dogs? It's decent. That game had a lot of promise, and it just did not deliver. It's not a bad game, but I'd say it's it's a decent game. Uncharted 3. This is my favorite Uncharted game. I know that's a controversial claim. I know most people it's 2 or 4. I'm sitting here 3. I enjoyed the more personal story. I enjoyed the not having a supernatural twist. I just enjoyed where the story put Nathan and how it used its cast of characters really, really well. And I really loved a lot of the set pieces. Water break. 1 second. This is a lot of talking. Metal Gear Rising. Never played it. I love the Metal Gear games. I love Platinum games. I just never got around to that one. That's a Platinum Games game, right? Doesn't matter. Bloodborne. It's a masterpiece. This is my favorite Soulsborne-esque game. I love the setting. I love the combat. This is the game that taught me how to not hide behind a shield in those games. It is. It's so good. I don't know what to tell you. If you haven't played Bloodborne, you're missing out on easily one of the PS4's best exclusives. Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. Great game. Which, it hurts me to put that there, but in terms of gameplay, I love The Phantom Pain. I think it is great. I love how open it is, how many options you have, how almost anything you can think of the devs thought of. It just feels like very intelligently designed. I love building up a base, of doing all that shit. I do not like the story for this game. What a controversial claim, I know. I feel like the story is a huge missed bag. I hate what they did with just making Snake borderline silent protagonist. I hate, and I get there's like reasons for it, but it does not work for me at all. And I don't know. And obviously the game is fucking unfinished. The ending is terrible. And it just feels like there could have been something way, way better, and we did not get it. Lego Star Wars 2. I don't really play Lego games. I know they're great. Chase and Cheyenne are playing through the Lego Star Wars games now, but I don't really have anything I can say about that. Shadow of the Colossus. Masterpiece. I cried playing this game. Multiple times, actually. It's just... This is the perfect example of a game that just hones in on exactly what it wants to do and delivers on that so powerfully. It is a puzzle game masquerading as an action game, and it is a surprisingly emotional journey, at least for me. And I loved it so much. XCOM 2. Amazing game. I had never played the original XCOM games, so maybe this will, affect my opinion of that. At least not in any substantial way. But I loved the XCOM remake. Like the reboot of the franchise that came out a few years ago. I say a few years ago. It's been quite a bit longer than that. But I feel like XCOM 2 took everything that worked about that and just like tightened all the screws and just really pushed it forward into a whole new intensity. And then, oh god, what's the expansion called? Fuck. The Chosen, or I'm blanking here. That expansion just took XCOM 2 and made it even better. So, play XCOM 2 if you like strategy games at all. And if you like XCOM games, I have a video on my channel for a game that you might want to check out. I shill this game so much that I feel like somebody has to think I'm sponsored for a troubleshooter, but I'm not. I just really like that game, and I want more people to play it. So let's see if I remember to put an end card, or like one of those little cards here to link you to it. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. This was my favorite of the Ezio trilogy. I'm going to put in great. I do like the Assassin's Creed games quite a bit. It's not my favorite Assassin's Creed game anymore. I see that we will get to that later. But it is a good time. Woohoo. I got to go faster than this. We got a lot of games to go through. I got to pick it up. Grand Theft Auto 4. Very good. I was actually never a huge fan of Grand Theft Auto 4. I loved San Andreas. I loved Vice City. I loved all those. I felt like 4, while it upped the storytelling, it didn't really improve the story, and I didn't care as much as I did. I feel like 5 was a huge step forward in that regard, and I'm confident that will show up on this list also. Metal Gear Solid 3. This is actually my favorite Metal Gear Solid game. I'm going to put it in amazing. It was actually the first Metal Gear Solid game I beat. Because I had never played 1 at the time, and I had played 2 a little bit, but it kind of lost me. And so when I got 3, and when I realized it was like a prequel, and it was going to be a bit more standalone and not a terrible way to enter the franchise, I played it. I loved it. I beat it. I went back. I replayed the first 2 games. And loved them too. So I think this game is just like, it was my entry point to it, and it was great. Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. Great game. I love the ship combat. I think as an Assassin's Creed game, it's really weak. Well, not really weak, but it's weak as like a pirate game. It's borderline unmatched. And supposedly we're gonna get Skull and Bones at some point ever. We'll see. But I have my doubts. Smite, never played it. Doom 2016, amazing game. Fantastic first-person shooter. Brought back what Doom felt like in the past. This was not Doom 3 with its like slower, more horror themed, which was good at the time, but nah, man. It's a more arcadey shooter again. They're relying on a lot of skill and a lot of aggression, which is just the opposite of what shooters had become. And I loved it. It was great. Borderlands 2, amazing game. I don't know if I would qualify it as an amazing game playing it alone, but I played it with my friend Matt, and we had a great time, and I love that game, and spent a lot of time in it. It's the definitive looter shooter, basically. I don't know what to tell you. Final Fantasy 15. This is going to be tough. I've described this as my favorite 7 out of 10 game ever made. I'm going to put it in good. I like this game, but it has so many fucking problems. It is just a mess in terms of its storytelling until the very end when it finally figures out its shit. I describe it as I've never played a game where I, the main character, am the B-plot, and all the important shit is happening to people right before I get to them. But that's how it feels. And it's a mess. But I love the character so much. And the battle system is fine. But I think the game succeeds so much on the relationship between its 4 leads that it earns a lot of points from me where it really probably shouldn't. And also, like, the game unexpectedly made me care at the end. I wasn't prepared for giving a shit at the end of that game because I didn't think I did. And then the ending actually did emotionally affect me a little bit. So there we go. Watch Dogs 2. Such a huge improvement over the first Watch Dogs. Great game. I platinumed that one. Had a lot of fun with it. I played that game non-lethally, so I didn't have a lot of disconnect with the story. But I know people that played it, like, running gun, shooting, killing people. And then, like, yeah, the whole story, we're like, oh, we're freedom fighters trying to do the right thing, blah, blah, blah. Like, we're the heroes. We're hackers trying to... And it just didn't come out feeling right. I'm really excited for Watch Dogs Legion. I hope that is good. Dark Souls 3. I really like Dark Souls 3. I'd qualify it as a great game. And the reason I would qualify as a great game is because I think the original Dark Souls is an amazing game. The original Dark Souls obviously brought the Soulsborne style into the mainstream. It made it popular. I'm definitely one of those people who did play Demon's Souls. Thank you very much. I was one of the few, the proud, the people that read about Demon's Souls in a magazine in a small article and went, oh, that sounds cool, and then picked it up when it came out. And then didn't realize how much I was on the ground floor of something huge. But yeah, what a game. What a great, fun time. We just got to move on. Shadows of War. Didn't like Shadows of War very much. Thought it was decent. Much prefer Shadows of Mordor. I think Shadows of War got overly complicated. I think it tried to bite off more than it can chew, and the microtransaction-y, grindy bullshit towards the end of the game pissed me the fuck off. Super Mario Odyssey. I'm going to say amazing. I'm not, by the way, these are not sorted in order. I don't have time for that. That's too much work. I thought this was amazing. I had thought I didn't give a shit about 3D platformers anymore, and Super Mario Odyssey showed me that I guess I did. I didn't expect much from that. I got that for Christmas, because I was just like, I just need a game to play on Christmas. And so I asked for it, and then I just beat the shit out of that game, and I just couldn't get away. That's easily one of the games I spent the most time with on my Switch. And it just proved to me that, 3D Mario platformers are not something I disliked, which I thought must have been the case because I was not a huge... I don't know if they'll come up. I feel like they might. Oh, yep, they are. So I'll save it for then. Devil May Cry 5. Oh, this is tough. I don't know if I'd qualify as... I'm going to say amazing. Because I do think Devil May Cry 5 is the best Devil May Cry game in terms of narrative complexity. That's not hard. But just even in terms of just like the actual moment-to-moment gameplay, I love how all 3 characters felt very different. They all had very complicated like approaches, even if V was admittedly a bit too easy and like simplified and didn't feel like it had as much depth. But Nero and Dante both felt completely different and yet equally great. And I love the hell out of that game. Soul Calibur 6. A great return to form for the Soul Calibur series. I've been I was a big fan of these games for a long time, and 5 was not good. People don't like talking about it, but even then, I didn't even like 4 that much. I thought it was fine, but yeah, like I was a big fan of like 2 and 3, like my PS2 era Soul Calibur games. Even though admittedly I played Soul Calibur 2 on the GameCube because Link, but you know, it was a nice return to form. I like it kind of retelling the story of the first game. I did like the story mode. I like the creative character mode. There was a lot going on there. Assassin's Creed Odyssey. This is my actual new favorite Assassin's Creed game. I don't know what to tell you. This game got its hooks in me really well in a way that even Origins didn't, even though they're very similar games. I liked the story of Odyssey a lot more, and I liked all of the different gameplay systems in play. I did enjoy like the war thing, even though it was basically inconsequential. Hunting down all the cultists was a lot of fun. Going to each area, just doing a lot of stuff. Like, this is the epitome in many ways of the Ubisoft checkbox, go to a place, do all the thing, find all the stuff, do that. But it just, I don't know, it scratched an itch for me that I didn't know I had, and I platinumed that game, and that was not a insignificant time sink. Mortal Kombat 11. I've actually not played Mortal Kombat 11. I just it came out at a weird time for me where I didn't have the money to put down for it, and I just haven't gotten around to it. I don't know what to tell you. I want to play it, and I definitely plan on playing it, but I haven't yet. Call of Duty Modern Warfare. This is the new Modern Warfare. I thought this was very good. It was a return to form in a lot of ways for me, but also it had problems. Moving on. Doom, the original Doom. I think it's a good game. I feel like this might be a heretical statement because of how important it is. If you notice, I'm probably going to put a lot of older games a little bit lower than some people would, because I think, like, some of these games definitely have places in my heart, and so this is going to be inconsistent at best. But I just didn't. I've played Doom many times. I've beaten Doom. I don't think it holds up very well anymore, even though there's like a huge legacy to it. Speaking of games with huge legacies that don't hold up as well as I think people think they do, Half-Life 2, still I consider a great game. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot to love about this game. It kind of revolutionized first-person shooters and their approach to storytelling and how they do things. And I do think it is still a great game, but I think it has aged. I think that so many games have taken what it's done and gone so much farther that it is really hard to qualify it as anything more than just a great game judged on like today's standards. League of Legends, I think this is League of Legends. I have also not played League of Legends. I don't play MOBAs. Overwatch. Okay. I don't play multiplayer games, but I have played Overwatch, and I feel like the internet will hate me. I'm gonna say it's very good. Based on my standards, I had fun with it, but it could not keep me coming back for more. And so I'd say it's very good. I enjoyed the time I had, but I probably put in like 8-9 hours into it, and I'm like, I'm good now. Crash Bandicoot. That one I'm kind of ashamed of, but I never played the original Crash Bandicoot. Is this like the Insane Trilogy, or is this just the original Crash Bandicoot? I think it's just the original Crash Bandicoot being judged here. I never played the first one. I only played the third one. I don't know what to tell you. I got it for like Christmas one year or something, and I really liked Crash 3, and I just never went back and played the first two. Yeah, my Naughty Dog journey really started in the PS2 era. God of War 3? I'm not gonna lie. I did not like God of War 3 very much. It was definitely a good game. It got old to me really quickly, and I really liked the first two God of War games. Going back, I like them less now, and I think a lot of that is just I felt like the series didn't evolve much. I feel like the spectacle kept growing, but like the base gameplay didn't get much deeper, and I feel like the base gameplay didn't have enough in the moment to justify how long that game felt to me. I just felt like I'm like, oh my god, can we just get to the end of this? I want to see how the story like wraps up, and it just, I don't know what to tell you. Okay. Dragonball Fighters. Great game. Fun fighting game. I love Dragon Ball Z. I got a hell of a lot of enjoyment out of that game, but I was never going to play that online competitively. And so once I got through story mode, which I thought was also a bit of a grind, I was done with it. I just think the fighting itself and the taking of the franchise and turning it into a video game that feels very I mean, like, we hear this all the time, but it really does kind of feel like playing the series in a way that, like, the 3D fighters, while they look more like Dragon Ball Z in terms of, like, yeah, we're flying around big areas and throwing, like, big old ki blasts and blowing up the planet and shit. While those looked more like Dragon Ball Z in a general sense, I feel like they just weren't that fun to play. They were very simple, whereas Dragon Ball Fighters is very deep. And there's a lot to learn, especially with being like a tag fighter with, like, you know, having to build a team of characters. There's just a lot to dive into. Far Cry 3. I'm going to say a great game. This is the game that made me love the Far Cry series, whereas like 1 and 2 never really grabbed me too much. But I mean, this is also where the franchise got super popular, so I don't think I'm alone with that. Far Cry 3. Great villain for the first half of the game. Kind of loses a lot of steam once he's replaced. Spoilers, I guess, for Far Cry 3. But just that loop that they create in this game of, like, going to outposts, taking it out, being stealthy, being approached, hunting animals, crafting better gear, like, it just works. There's a reason, like, they've just been making the same game over and over and over again, basically, in different settings with slightly different gameplay features. FIFA 20. I'm not big on soccer games, but I've definitely played FIFA 20 and it was good for soccer games. I don't know what to tell you. Tetris. This is one of the rare examples where I'm going to say an old game is a masterpiece. Tetris is the perfect puzzle game. I don't know what I can say other than that. Tetris is great. It's still great. There are new iterations on Tetris that change some shit. And, I mean, technically are better, but, like, Tetris, for how old it is and how simple it is just endlessly deep. And I'm not good at it, but I love it to death. So Tetris is a masterpiece. Fortnite. It's good. I'm not a big Battle Royale guy. I'm not big on multiplayer. I don't know what to tell you. Fortnite is fine. And there's a lot to it, and I get why people like it, but it's just never been that big for me. World of Warcraft. Very good. It's not my MMO, but I did play it for a good amount of time during the Wrath of the Lich King expansion. Well, okay, I played it before then, but, like, that was, like, the last time I really played it, and it was just, so, to be fair, it could be very different now. Maybe I'd like it a lot more, but I don't know, it didn't hold my interest much anymore, and then other MMOs kind of took its place. Pokemon Emerald. I've technically never played Pokemon Emerald, but I've played Ruby, and so, I mean, it's Pokemon, it's great. I've lost some of my love for Pokemon over the years, but, like, that was, like, the last gen where I felt like I really loved Pokemon. And so that'll just kind of be my representation for Ruby. I know that's probably just the best version of the game since it was, like, you know, the third iteration they put out. But whatever. God of War. What, 2018, 2019? God, what year did this game come out? I don't even know anymore. Masterpiece. It's so fucking good. Oh my god. With how I put God of War 3 all the way down in good. This was just a tour de force in terms of storytelling and all of that crap. The gameplay was a lot of fun. I don't know what to say. Grand Theft Auto 5. This one I really liked. I think Grand Theft Auto 5 is a great game. It has a lot to really appreciate, but same thing with, like, Red Dead 2 is that, pardon me, is that, like, the gameplay it's not that great, even though they do a good job of mixing it up. The multiple playable characters help a lot. I just didn't care about the story as much as I did in Red Dead 2. I had a great time with Grand Theft Auto 5. I bought it twice. I've beaten it one time. But yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn, amazing game. I can't wait for the sequel. I really liked the gameplay. I loved how original the world felt. I loved how... I really liked the story. There was just a lot to really appreciate in that game. Yakuza 0. I haven't gotten around to this one yet. I own it. It's actually, you know, I've been waiting to play it, but I kind of felt like beating Kiwami 2 beforehand. So I haven't gotten around to it yet. Injustice 2. Great fighting game. Yep. Lego. Haven't played it. Lego. Haven't played it. Mario Kart 8. Great game. Not a big kart racer, but I've played that one, obviously, because if there's any kart racer you're playing, it's going to be fucking Mario Kart. And that's just kind of, you know, where it stands. I'm going to have to make this smaller again so I can see these games. Yeah, Mario Kart 8. It's a good game. Mario Galaxy. So, I understand that objectively the Mario Galaxy games 1 and 2 are great. They're much beloved. There's a lot to really appreciate there. I never really was able to get into those games. Something about them. Both games, I tried them both. I bought them both. I just couldn't get through them as much as I wanted to. And I don't know what to tell you. I don't even know why. Especially because of how much I liked Odyssey. It just didn't have its hooks in me. Maybe that was at the time I played it, but I don't know. I know I'm wrong about this, but I would just consider it a good game. Minecraft. Great game. It's Minecraft. We're moving on. Monster Hunter World. Amazing. I've been trying to get into the Monster Hunter series for a long time. I finally really got my hooks into, oh god, what was it? 3 Ultimate, maybe? Which one was on the Wii U? and the 3DS, because somehow the Wii U version was the one that hooked me. I think that was 3 Ultimate. That was the one where I finally, like, it kind of clicked for me, and I really dove into it. I beat the main campaign. I loved it. I've been playing these games since then. I feel like World did what I didn't think was possible, which was take Monster Hunter, not dumb it down, but make it way more approachable for people. I mean, this is what Capcom's best-selling game of all time. I feel like it deserves that. Need for Speed something or other, didn't play it. Overcooked 2. The Overcooked games are very good. They're a lot of fun. You get a group of friends together and you fuck around and you desperately try and cook things. You better really like those people you're playing with, though, or you will definitely not like them once it's done. Counter-Strike? I mean, I've technically played it, but I can't say I played it with anything. Pac-Man, it's a good game. Moving on. Persona 5. Is this a base Persona 5 or Persona 5 Royal? Because that makes a difference whether I think it's a masterpiece or amazing. I'm going to put it in amazing just because it looks like it's just the base game. Persona 5 has got something real special going on there. And it takes everything about the Persona franchise that, like, in a gameplay sense, and just kind of fine-tunes it to almost perfection. I qualified as probably the best turn-based RPG made in years and years and years, with really only one game that I think could compete with it. I don't know if it's going to be on this list. I'd say it's Dragon Quest XI. I think those two games are fascinating because they're polar opposites of each other. Dragon Quest XI is a game that took, like, classic, old school turn-based RPGs and just... Was I saying turn-based strategy? Because I feel like I was, but I meant turn-based RPGs. I'm tired. Taking turn-based RPGs, like, it takes the old school style and just, like, hones that to a T and, like, almost perfects it, whereas, like, Persona 5 takes all of that and just goes, like, how can we update this to be, like, the smoothest, fastest, most efficient form of turn-based RPG combat that we could have. And the story is really good. It's actually, of Persona 3 and 4, like the new modern style Persona games, I think it actually has the weakest story in my opinion. I cared way more about the plot in 3 and even 4. But it's still a very good game. The story is very good. The characters are still very good. It just, I don't know. But in terms of, like, gameplay and mechanics and stuff, it is just, it is a marvel. Pokemon. This looks like, what, Sword? I kind of mentioned that Emerald is the last Pokemon game I got into. I have, and I'm not suggesting with this that Pokemon, I know it looks like I am because technically I am, that Persona Sword is, like, worse than Pokemon, that Pokemon Sword is, like, worse than Pokemon Emerald. It's just, when it came time for me to play these games, I bought it, I was really excited for it, and I just totally lost interest again. Pokemon does not work for me anymore. It just doesn't. I don't know what to say. Hey, it's Pong. It's Pong. It's important, but would anyone really want to play Pong nowadays? It's kind of a horrible game comparatively. And maybe that's harsh, but I had to put something in horrible. And so I'm putting Pong there. Portal 2, great game. Really funny. Takes everything that Portal did and made it more complex. I don't know if that's necessarily an improvement, because I'd say Portal 1 is an amazing game. Portal 1 is a game that just understands exactly what it is. It doesn't overly complicate itself, despite the fact that it's literally using portals and momentum and shit. It fine-tunes one mechanic and just hones it down to a T. Whereas Portal 2 tells a much bigger story. It does a lot. It tries a lot more. It introduces a lot more mechanics, and I feel like that actually hurts it in a couple different ways. Even though it's still amazing, well, it's still great, but like the first one, I don't know. It feels like a tighter experience to me, and I just like it a little bit more. Jackbox Party Pack 6. Let's just have this be the representation of all the Jackbox Party games. I'm gonna say very good. That really depends on the friends you're playing with, but you get a group of people together, you play some Jackbox games, they're almost always a good time. Some games are better than others, but just overall, hard to argue with. Resident Evil 2 Remake. Amazing. I'm not gonna say it's a masterpiece, even though I actually love this game probably more than some of the games on this like up top here. I think it is the masterclass on how to remake a game, like an old game from modern standards. But I love the hell out of this game. I beat this game so many times. I platinumed it. I've been saying that a lot. But there's so much to enjoy. Resident Evil 4. I'd say it's also an amazing game. It kind of created the modern third-person cover-based shooter, even though I don't think anybody realized it at the time. Like the over-the-shoulder kind of thing. I know it didn't create cover-based shooting, but I don't know. It took Resident Evil and it modernized it. And for 4, that worked really well. But it's complicated because 5 and 6 are not great games. And this kind of laid the foundation for what those were. It felt like lightning in a bottle, where they still kind of... I would not consider Resident Evil 4 scary at all, but it still had that horror theme that I don't think they lost track of, and it still felt spooky. Whereas like later games had issues holding on to that. Sekiro. Amazing. Also platinum this one. From Software kind of, expanded their horizons again a little bit. Went away from the straight Souls combat and just like narrative, not narrative, but like, well, I mean narrative loop too, because it tells a more straightforward story. But I don't know, it felt more like a conventional game that used a lot of Souls elements in it, but didn't feel beholden to it, and it didn't really feel like a Souls game, even though you could definitely tell it was made by the same people. Super Metroid, great game. Probably gonna get some heresy putting it that low, honestly. But I like Super Metroid. I've beaten Super Metroid. It's a very good game, but it didn't... Like, nowadays, I think there are just better Metroidvanias, including Symphony of the Night. Super Mario 2. Obviously, it's the best game ever made. I really don't like Super Mario Bros. 2. It's bad. Moving on. Super Mario Galaxy 2. I will say that I did like Super Mario Galaxy 2 more than 1, and I got farther in it, but it still lost my interest. So I'm going to put it in very good, not good. Terraria. I played a lot of Terraria. I'd say it's a good game. I didn't like it as much as Minecraft. I didn't really dig the 2D shit as much, but there was a lot there to like. Skyrim. I'd say it's a great game. It's obviously a very important game. It's been re-released 1,000 times. And it'll be re-released 1,000 more, I'm sure, before Elder Scrolls 6 comes out. But in terms of story, the game's not great. But I'd argue there are a few games that make you feel more like you're actually on an adventure and actually exploring like a fantasy world than Skyrim. The Last of Us Part 1. I said I wasn't putting things in order, but I'm going to put that right here. I've said before, and even those of you who are new to the channel, if you watched my kind of first impressions after beating The Last of Us Part 2, you heard me say that The Last of Us 1 is my favorite game of all time. I think this game is absolutely a masterpiece in terms of storytelling in video games. The story itself isn't anything too fancy. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. You've seen it 1,000 times. It's how they approach the story and how strong the characters are in their relationship as it evolves is what makes that game into something really, really special. And I know that it's kind of ridiculous claiming that The Last of Us is a masterpiece, considering I'm about to say that I don't like the gameplay that much. It's totally fine. It doesn't get in the way. But I don't play The Last of Us because I want to play The Last of Us. I want to experience The Last of Us. And so I would never describe The Last of Us as the best video game ever made, but it is my favorite. Breath of the Wild. Whew. Okay, I'm going to put this game in great. And again, this is another heresy statement, I think. I did not love Breath of the Wild, because while it was fun having this open world experience and being very like non-linear and being able to go where you want, I hated the weapon degradation system and how quickly things broke too much that it drove me fucking crazy. I felt like I would work really hard to get like these really cool weapons, and then I would never want to use them because they would just break immediately. And so I tried to save them for like big moments, but then those big moments would come and I'm like, but there's another big moment coming. It's like the fucking elixir in a Final Fantasy game. You never use those things until the end. You have like 99 of them. But the problem here is that there was a limited amount of weapon spaces. And so I kept using really shitty weapons, and I didn't have a lot of variety of them because so many of my weapon slots were taken up by really good weapons I wanted to save for more than like a random fucking orc on the side of the road. It was just, I feel like that system alone ruined that game for me, whereas I was enjoying it so much more prior to that. And I know that's on me, but I don't like that system at all. Legend of Zelda Wind Waker, amazing game. I feel like this game has really come around in a lot of people's opinions nowadays. The game got shit on a lot when it was new. Just because it's not Ocarina of Time, it looks all cartoony and kiddish, but like really, Wind Waker has so much going for it. It's so colorful, it's so bright, it's so fun, but the game is also fairly dark. And it has a lot that it's just a good game. I gotta keep going. Ocarina of Time. It's actually not even my favorite N64 Zelda game. So obviously you know what my favorite N64 Zelda game is. But it is damn good. It is an amazing game. And it kind of created all of the 3D Zeldas that we're still playing today. Uncharted 2, also an amazing game. It's fantastic. Moving on. The Walking Dead Season 1. Amazing. I loved this game so much. I think that like it was a fist fight between that and Journey that year for me, which was the best game, but I loved the hell out of The Walking Dead Season 1 and that story and that relationship between those two characters. It's very much this, The Last of Us, Bioshock Infinite kind of told me that like, yeah, I have this weird passion for stories that tell relationships between like father figures and daughter figures. Like, I feel like there's just so much strength in that tale, but it's really, I think it's just really like fathers and their children, or like people that they're, or like younger people that they're in charge of that are like more naive. I feel like that just hits an element with me that I didn't know I cared that much about, but I do. Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, amazing game. I don't have time to dig into that. You know why The Witcher 3 is an amazing game, or you don't like it, and it won't matter what I say. Yakuza 4, great game. Like I said, it's the game that got me into the franchise. I really dug it. There was a lot going on there. I did not understand all of the little callbacks and a lot of the stuff going on because I hadn't played the former games, but even despite that, there was so much to like. Yakuza Kiwami. I'm also going to put that in the great category. I did enjoy the hell out of the story for that game. I felt like there was just a lot of cheap bullshit in that game when it came to the actual fighting. That so far when I'm playing the sequel does not feel the same. Like that game feels tighter, it feels stronger, it feels more skill based. Whereas I don't know if it was just me being bad at the game, but there was a lot of points where I was just like, this is bullshit. I'm just getting like stun locked by crap, and I don't know. Apex Legends. I'm only recently playing Apex Legends with friends. I like it a lot. I'm just going to put it in the very good category with expectation that it might rise the more I play it. Celeste. Amazing game. Which I was not actually expecting when I started playing it, because it's a 2D platformer, whoop-whoop-a-doo. It's also balls hard, so it's probably going to drive me crazy, and that is true. But I've never seen a game that used its difficulty to better inform its story and its relationship with the main character to the player. Like, it was important that that game was unbelievably difficult, because every time you succeeded in getting farther, you more and more and more closely aligned with the relationship of the character you were playing as in a very strong way. That is a game that tackles mental health in a way that I was not prepared for. And even though that's not something I can personally directly relate to, it was a really powerful experience. Chrono Trigger, what many people consider to be the best RPG on the Super Nintendo. It's an amazing game. I've beaten it so many times. I like Final Fantasy VI more, but like there is something special about Chrono Trigger. It has been replicated but never duplicated. I think that's what I mean by that. Dishonored 2. Great game. I really like the Dishonored games. I guess I can put 1 and 2 here. I do think Dishonored 2 is a slightly better game. I feel like though they're still pretty closely related. I love the approach. I play these games 100% non-lethal stealthy, so maybe it's not as fun for some people, but I love them as stealth games. I love them where like you really feel the consequences of the way you play and how you shape the world. It just feels really fun. Firewatch. I'm going to put it in good. Firewatch is a great story, but other than that, as a walking simulator, I did enjoy my time with it. No regrets there at all. But I just feel like it could have done more. I felt like its ending was good. It proved its point. But it did make also a lot of the game feel irrelevant. Which is... Okay, really quickly, I have an idea. I'm going to move this up to bad. Because really, horrible was just exaggeration. I'm going to delete this row to make more space down here. I don't know. Yeah, we're just moving on. Never played. Sorry, For Honor. Inside. I thought Inside was great. I feel like people were really way overselling that game. I played it a couple days after like all the reviews came out, like 10 out of 10 masterpiece. And I'm like, I mean, this is a really good game, but I don't know about that. The Binding of Isaac. I never got into The Binding of Isaac like so many people did. I don't know. I like my roguelikes with a lot more progression. And that's on me, I know. But I don't know. It never got its hooks in me the way it did seemingly everybody else. Jedi Fallen Order. I'd say a very good game. I like this game a lot. I did platinum it, but it just wasn't... I don't know. Like, I feel like it had been so long since we got a great single-player Star Wars game that people kind of overinflated it. I mean, they just took Souls Combat, they put it into Star Wars, and they also did, like, some 3D Metroidvania exploration shit. There's a lot of backtracking in these games, which I had no problem with, exploring using your new powers and stuff to go to new areas. It felt annoying getting around the worlds with no fast travel at all. Definitely kind of hurt things. But like I said, I still platinumed the game. I still enjoyed it. It's a very good game. Journey, I'd say, is amazing. Super emotional for me. It's a great 90-minute experience that really does take you on a journey somehow in that short amount of time. Playing together with another person is a weirdly wholesome and like cathartic thing. I played through that whole game with a stranger, basically, that I didn't know. I met him in like the second level, like the second area of the game. And we basically played together the entire time. At one point, right towards the end, I thought I lost him. I moved forward through the end way too fast, and I turned around and they were gone, and I just waited right before I reached the mountain, and they showed up right at the end, and we crossed that line together, and it just wouldn't have felt right going without him. And it was a great experience. I don't know what to tell you. I've played it again, and it was still really good, but I feel like that's one of those games where like your first experience through it really defines how you do. I'm going to put Left 4 Dead 2 in very good. I've never been... I like the Left 4 Dead games. I like these kinds of games, but I don't know. They've just never blown me away, I guess. Limbo. Also, very good game. Very good, mysterious, kind of sad, 2D side-scroller platformer thing. It's just good. Mordhau, never played it. Outlast? I'd say Outlast is very good. It was spooky. It got the scarums going. Getting over it, never played, never will. Don't need to do that to myself. Papers, Please, amazing game. Somehow going through paperwork and making it an incredibly stressful and emotional experience. I still don't know how they pulled that fucking shit off, but it works so well. Oh my god. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. I'm gonna put this into great. It was a huge return to form for Resident Evil in a lot of ways. The first-person perspective, I know something not a lot of people are huge fans of. I had no problem with it. I just really liked how they handled it. Was this fucking Roblox? Never played it. Rocket League, great game. Soccer cars, whatever. Beat Saber, also a great game. I don't have VR, but I have definitely played Beat Saber, and if I had VR, that would be the game I'd be playing most, because it's super fun and a great workout. Silent Hill 2 is a masterpiece. It is my favorite survival horror game ever made. It is, it's a terrifying game. It is incredibly emotionally draining and powerful. It has an incredible ending, a lot of twists and turns that it's like impossible to fucking see coming. But like, oh my god, that game, I could talk about how great that game is for a long time. The Sims 4 is very good. It's a Sims game. I don't like them taking away the open world aspects of 3, but they really fine-tune a couple different things. I get the moodlets and like I don't know. It's a good game. Infamous Second Son, also a very good game. I didn't like it as much as Infamous 2. I feel like its story was weaker. Its choices, I didn't feel like I connected too much with like the central characters. This is a Civ game. 6, 5, I don't know. I like Civ games. Clearly not enough to. That looks like 6. I'm actually gonna put very good. I prefer 5. We've been playing 5 a lot more, even though 6 is arguably a better game. Sony's Spider-Man, well, Marvel Spider-Man, but the new Spider-Man game, amazing. Fucking loved that game. It was great. It really made you feel like Spider-Man. I don't know what to tell you. Spore is a decent game at best. Yeah, Wii Sports, decent game. It's got bowling, which is great, and then a bunch of other shit that's like really not that good. Bully. I'm gonna have to put Bully and have not tried the game. I have played Bully for a little bit, but not enough to feel like I can really pass judgment on that game. I want to go back and play it again. I just haven't. Deus Ex, the original Deus Ex, haven't really played. Oh god, which one is this one? Is Mankind Divided? Is this the first or the second of the new ones? Regardless, they would both be going in great. I really liked them. I thought they were a lot of fun. Factorio goes into have not tried the game. And god damn it, we're back at too big. There's too many games. Fallout 4 is a very good game. I did not love Fallout 4. I thought it was fine. Fallout 3, also a very good game. Problem is, like, I feel like Fallout New Vegas takes everything that these games try to do and just shows what they actually could be, which makes them look worse in retrospect. You know what? I will say Fallout 3 is a great game, whereas Fallout 4 is a very good game, because I did not like how much they took away the role-playing in Fallout 4. It did not feel like my choices mattered. What I know, I'm far from the first person to say that. We're just going to move on. Fallout 76 is a bad game. I don't need to expunge on that. Everyone knows that. Far Cry 5 is a very good game. I like the setting. I think this is the point where the series has gotten too cartoony, and it was always kind of cartoony, but like I liked 3 so much because it felt much more real. Whereas like this game is just like, we are totally bonkers insane, but we still want you to kind of care. This Far Cry Blood Dragon, I'm putting good. It wasn't long, but it was a lot of fun. Michael Biehn played the main character in that, right? Warcraft 3. Warcraft 3 is a good game. I'm not huge on real-time strategy games, but it was a good one. More Counter-Strike, nope. Gary's Mod, nope. Guitar Hero 3, I actually missed that one. Heyday? I don't even know what the fuck that is. This is a Hitman something or other? Hitman, it is one of the Hitman games. I didn't play it. Hotline Miami, very good. Just Cause 2? I love Just Cause 2. I could not consider it better than a good game. Kingdom Hearts 2? Wait, is this 3? I think this is 3. I've lost track. Is this 3? God damn it, we're zooming in. It's 3. Okay. Oh, hey, we're almost at the end of the list. Thank God. Just kind of tighten that right there. Where'd I put it? Good? Yeah, I'm good with that. I'd say very good. That game has a lot of problems, but I still really appreciated it at the end of the day. Life is Strange, I'd call a great game. I'm just going to scroll down now for these. Life is Strange, Before the Storm, I'd say is very good. I didn't like it as much as the original. Metro 2033, I really like Metro 2033. I really love the world. I really loved all of that shit going on. Mount and Blade Warband. Oh, fuck yeah, great game. A goddamn mess of a game. But, oh, I love the Mount and Blade series. I love the sequel, even though it's still got a lot of work to do. Nier Automata. Is another one of those games, right? Like, I put it in great, and I feel like that'll piss people off. Nier Automata did not get its hooks in me for a long time. I kept playing that game because I knew people that I really trusted their opinions of that just kept talking about how amazing it was. I thought that action was fine. I thought the story was okay. It didn't take until the third playthrough before that game started clicking with me. But even by then, like, it kind of waned on me again. The story it tells is fascinating. I love the New Game Plus approaches where it's like there are 5 fucking full different playthroughs of that game. But I don't know, it didn't hook me as much as it seemed like everybody else. I thought it was a great game. I had a good time with it. The story was really good. But I don't know. Pathologic 2. I'm going to call this a very good game. Now, in its defense, I've not beaten it, despite my best efforts, because that game is fucking hard. I had played the original Pathologic, and so I'm aware that Pathologic 2 is just a much improved version of that. But, I don't know, like, these games are just so bleak and so difficult that it gets tough. You just feel so beaten down by them that it's not fun to play, even though I recognize it's part of the point, and I love how immersive the games are, and how you can just totally fail. But there's just, Path of Exile. A very good game that I wish I'd played more of. What the fuck is this? This Plants vs. Zombies? That's a very good game. Postal 2. That's a decent game at best. The original Prototype, decent game at best. Rainbow Six Siege, I have not played. Is it Saints Row 2? It's good. Sniper Elite 3? It's very good. Stalker, I've technically played, but not enough to really pass judgment. The original Battlefront 2, great game. Loved it, had a lot of fun times. New Battlefront 2, have not played it. Super Hot, great game. System Shock 2, have not played. And Undertale, amazing. Okay, I know we just kind of rushed through shit at the end there, but this was a lot of list, and I feel like you guys should probably have a good idea of the kind of games I like, or that I am the least consistent human being on Earth, which just makes me human. But yeah, so here is my tier list. Masterpiece, amazing, great, very good, good, decent, bad. Not a lot of games on the bottom there. Well, I mean, I have not tried. There are a lot of games on the bottom here. But in terms of, like, decent and bad, I like most games I play. But, these are the games that just did not impress me. Or actively did not impress me at all. I kind of wish I'd kept horrible for that. But, it's cool. Yeah, so here is my list. This is long. This took a while. But hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, watch all of this. If not, that's how it goes. But that's my thoughts on the Vigimo games. There are many Vigimo games on here that are real classics. And there are also some missing that I love a lot. But regardless, thank you guys so much for watching. And maybe we'll see more of this later. Until then, I just realized I could have, full screened this to make more space. That's stupid. Not had all... fuck it, whatever. Too late now. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next time. My review for that one game I kind of hinted at will be coming out within the next couple of days. Hopefully you enjoy that, and then it's full speed ahead on finishing up my Last of Us Part 2 review. Bye, guys.